Discovered I am not my daughter's biological father. I just found out my 15-year-old daughter is not my biological child. My daughter was preparing for a family tree project for an online class and wanted an ancestry test. My father is half Native American, but he died several years ago, and I don't know precisely what Native American blood is in the family. My daughter came to me because it was my father, and we didn't mention it to her mother at the time. Well, it turned out my daughter doesn't have any Native American blood. The obvious conclusion didn't occur to me at first because the truth of the situation didn't seem possible. I assumed there was a mistake. My first thought was that my father hadn't been part Native American. So I took the test and everything became apparent. It was a very emotional situation for me and my daughter. What I will remember the most was after she started crying. She hugged so tightly and just kept saying over and over, "I love you, Daddy." At home, I confronted my wife and she looked like she'd had a stroke. She started crying and apologizing. You can probably imagine it. My wife and I got married because she was pregnant. We had been together for more than a year when it happened. It turns out she was sleeping with multiple guys at the time. She says it didn't mean anything and she doesn't even remember some of their names. When she realized she was pregnant, she said she wasn't sure who her father was. Since I was unaware of her extracurricular activities, she let me believe I was the father because I was the most financially stable. In terms of that, she may have chosen correctly. I have been very successful in my career, and building passive income streams has been a hobby of mine for a long time. My daughter got my wife to admit to this on tape as my daughter records the whole thing. I asked my wife several times, and she keeps insisting that she has been faithful for the entire time we have been married. I've never suspected anything, but I also didn't realize she was sleeping around before we got married, so I've said I don't believe her. I've come across a lot of the red flags of cheaters, and I can't think of any of them during our marriage. She doesn't use social media, and she has never been guarded about her phone. She only drinks on special occasions and doesn't go out for girls' night or anything. Also, she is a stay-at-home wife/mom, so there aren't any coworkers to worry about. She exercises at home as we have a very nice home gym. I don't believe her when she says she hasn't cheated after getting married, but I can't think of anything suspicious. We have a prenup, so I'm not worried about divorce if it comes to that. My daughter is another story. She is absolutely livid about the whole situation. I know teenagers can be emotional. I certainly remember how I was at her age. But she has never been very expressive, something I thought she or from me, nature versus nurture. My daughter can't stand to be around her mother. She has said some truly awful things to her mother. Basically, variations of calling her a dirty slut who ruined our family. Whenever my wife tries to talk to her, my daughter yells and swears and cries as I have never seen. Christmas is coming up and my daughter is demanding my wife leave the house until after New Year so she can spend time with her real family, meaning me. My daughter has even come to me privately saying that in the event of divorce she wants to stay with me. She has even asked if it is possible to disown her mother and be adopted by me. I haven't told this my wife. My wife is preparing to leave for her parents' house for the holidays. My wife and I had talked about the situation but have decided to wait until after New Year to make any decisions. I admit I'm grateful she agreed to leave because honestly, I need some time to process this. I think I'm writing this as a way to just come to terms with everything that has happened. Edit, after writing this post I fell asleep for a few hours. I came back to the post after about 10 hours and realized there were more than 200 messages. Thanks to everyone who took the time to comment, it means a lot. Additionally, thanks for all of the compassion and kind comments. I was touched by the displays of support and I'm not ashamed to say I shed a few tears. I still haven't read every message, but know I intend to whether or not I respond to yours specifically. I want to address two consistent things mentioned in the comments. I've had a DNA test. After our ancestry tests were different due to her lack of Native American blood, we got proper DNA tests. That was when I confronted my wife. Looking back at the original post, I'm sorry for not making that clear. I have made it clear in no uncertain terms that she is my daughter and I am her father regardless of the situation. I've reiterated to her repeatedly that she can stay with me and I will never leave her. Several comments suggested she might be scared I will leave her or want nothing more to with her. Nothing could be farther from the truth, and I tell her every day.